It's an IIM-A, not even BC. It is A. Why would they want a person who is just into academics? You should understand how to break that negative marking algorithm. Once you realize the difference between a percentile and a percentage is when you'll think smartly. Gen Z should really understand this. Never make your passion your profession. I cannot just focus on acting. It's not possible for the person that I am. Because of that, I lost one of the movie chances. I'm a huge F1 fan. In Formula 1, the car, most of them don't know, the car has 300 data points.
So tell me, Siddhi, like one of the things that in fact, the first time I actually stumbled upon your profile is when a couple of your brother's friends showed me, hey, do you know there's another content creator in the same vicinity? And I'm like, who? And then they're like, this person. I'm like, who's this person? And then I scroll down and there's a reel that you and your brother did. And I'm like, oh, wow. And then I'm like, very interesting. And then the next best thing is I met you at the hub.
Yes.
The event.
Yeah.
And post that...
that was quite a surprise. I wouldn't have... I mean, I know there was a Lalith that existed.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm just like, okay, who is this person? Because my brother keeps raving about you. Okay.
Thanks.
No, I'll still throw him under the bus. Don't worry. Right? And then when I met you over there and then you spoke about the podcast, I don't think it took me like even 2 seconds to even be like, should I do it or should I not do it? So it's like, let's do it.
That's nice, man. But dude, tell me this thing. Like, for me, the biggest question I wanted to ask, like, not even on the podcast, like personally, was how the hell do you manage so many things? Like, it's inhumanly, like, dude, I know what I am, right? I can spend 4 hours on something and I can do something great about it.
Right.
But I can't go all the entire day. Now, you've cracked a seat at the IIM-A.
Yeah.
You are also a very good content creator. You're an actor and you work.
Yes.
This is not supposed to be true.
Oh, there's more. I'm also a surfer. I've got my level 1 certificate for surfing.
Do you have... Okay.
And so you have different levels and everything. So I'm a surfer too. So anytime I want to take a vacation, I'll probably go and surf.
Okay.
But yeah, how am I doing all of this? Honestly, even I don't know. Okay, it just happened.
Shut up. Now I won't believe you. I don't know. This is like the topper typical answer. How did you get first rank? I don't know. What? I just studied so easy. We know the truth. Tell me.
I think back when I was a kid, I must say, but it got into reality when I was a teenager that I want to be a multitasker. So we had this award in school called Best All-Rounder Award. Okay, and this used to be given to those kids who were in the dance team or the drama team, and then who also had good grades, right? So my good grades part was really bad back then.
That is?
Back then, like maybe 5th, 6th grade, right? Okay. So then later in my 8th grade, I ramped up and everything, and then I was a part of the dance team, and then slowly I became a part of the drama team also. And I was like, okay, now you need to be the all-rounder, right? You need to stand out of that community of that entire school. So I had to do that. Hence, I just went ahead with it. Now, when I did that with the flow, little did I know that I could even be a part of Mu Sigma as a data scientist, and then also crack IIM-A. That's like I still don't know how I did it, and then do content creation. But content creation is mainly because I like to film my parents and then my brother and my family. They're good content. You get what I'm saying? That's why my content creation journey has been really good, because they give me good content.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, this multitasking thing is something that I like doing. So let's just do that with my profession also. Because at one point of time when I did my first movie, and then it was a blockbuster hit, it ran for 100 days around the world and all of that. And
this is a Malayalam movie, right?
Yeah, the Malayalam movie, the Anandam. Everybody was recognizing me. Again, I stood out of the community of college, there were people coming, clicking pictures. At one point, I was like, I think I should quit and just focus on acting, right? Then later on, I realized that when I did my second movie, I realized that I cannot just focus on acting. It's not possible for the person that I am, right?
Like, what is that person? Why?
Why? I always like to have my plate full, right?
Okay. As in, you want to have your schedule tight?
Yes.
Why?
Schedule
Why is that?
tight. It's just the way that I function, right?
Okay.
This is the way that I've been functioning back in school also, where I used to bunk classes, go for my dance practice or drama practice, be a part of this MC group, go ahead, do that assembly, whatever we had, right? So that just went with the flow. And then even in college also, I was like, no, I have to finish my assignment. I have to make sure I build the rapport with my teachers, and also participate in all the competitions that I get. A chance to participate and win them, and all of that, and be a part of the drama team in college as well. So at one point I was like, I want a very tight schedule. I don't want to be that person. Okay, what do I do next? Okay, what do I do next? Now what do I do? Right? I'm a super big overthinker. And when I have too much time on my plate, what happens? I sit and overthink. I'm like, oh, this person said something like this. Now it is going to affect me. So I think just the way that I've been built, right? I've been that's something that I did it to myself, like the way I function. So I just want to be a part of like multiple things, and it just happened with the flow.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times when you're multitasking, you can't multitask for a long period of time without not liking it.
Definitely.
You have to like it.
Yeah.
But what is your break then? Like, you need a break, right? And sometimes I feel breaks are underrated.
Yeah.
So what is your break?
Sleep. Because I'm half the time sleep deprived.
Yeah.
I just get like 6 hours of sleep sometimes during the week because of work or something that I need to complete. And whenever I get the chance of taking that break, it's either sleeping, or else whenever I get bored of, having pasta and pizza, because that's all Bangalore is about, right? Right? When I get bored of that, I just pack my bags and I'm like, Tata, bye bye, mama, I'm going. So I head out wherever I want to head out. Yeah, solo.
Okay.
Solo trips, and I've not done that in almost a year now. I have to get back to it to just, get myself back.
Now, also tell me, how do you pick things up, right? Like, sometimes when you look at acting, you would say, hey, it gives me perspectives, because now I'm morphing into another character and I get to live another life. And sometimes when you go to the corporate world, you could also do it from a FOMO feeling, saying, I don't want to miss out on the corporate feeling. Let me see what's happening. Right? So what's your inspiration when you pick up different things? Is it the same inspiration that you want to try it, or is it different for different things?
I think that one part of me in college was like, see, never make your passion your profession.
Okay,
right?
Why?
Because it gets commercialized, right? The love for acting, the love for dancing, the love for my workouts, the love for the job that I do, right? Keep it in terms of a boundary, right? If you overdo it, that's when you get affected. You're you're too involved in it, right?
Makes sense.
Thing. Second thing is, obviously it gets commercialized, so you'll probably end up doing the same thing again and again, or you end up doing something that you do not like for a lot of money.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right?
And we see it in the content journey, right?
Yeah.
You start content because you like it. Now
And then,
it gets the numbers game, and then you're like, what can I do to push the numbers, right?
Right.
So now, correct me if I'm wrong, then usually you picking up stuff and trying new things is your state of flow.
Yeah.
It just feels innately normal, and you just pick things up, and that's how you are.
Yeah. I find it to be normal. I don't know how people see this to be like an abnormal behavior, right?
Fair.
It's just the way that I've been built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I think it becomes abnormal when you come from a different school of thought, or when you come from a different set of experiences. A lot of times when people are restricted with freedom at a young age.
Yes.
And they are not allowed to do a lot of things, and now all of a sudden when they become an adult and they have everything to do, and they're like, no, this is so much work, and it's on their head.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen this with some of my friends,
right?
Considering what they were in school and what they are right now, right? Now I want to ask you, because you're in a state of flow and you're doing things, do you see challenges in this because you're doing so many things? Is there a consequence to it?
I mean, everything has its own challenge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
what makes you a better person is when you overcome that challenge or when you beat that challenge, right? So in terms of my work, obviously the work pressure, and then that constant competition about your team has to grow. Where is the growth? Where are the numbers? Right? That is one of the biggest challenges back at work. And then in terms of content creation, I think it's just when these two people don't allow me to film them, and I don't have any other content to put out, and I'm like, I can't lose out on followers. That is one, and also another. Obviously, numbers also acts as a challenge, and in due course of time, you need to learn how to embrace that, embrace yourself in overcoming that challenge and beating that. I think that is something that I have learned in due course of time. So.
Then do you also see yourself not getting attached to the result of that challenge a lot of times?
Oh,
or do you get attached?
So many times. I mean, like being unattached to it is, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be so, I'm a person who keeps it in like boundaries, right?
Ah, nice.
So I don't want to get too attached. I don't want to get too unattached. I'm in that mid zone. So yeah.
Interesting. So speaking of challenges and stuff, if I had to like ask you to push to that one phase in your career specifically, what was the toughest challenge you had, and how did you kind of overcome it?
Oh my God, this just happened a couple of weeks, actually couple of days back. So IIM-A sent out a mail saying that I'm supposed to be in Ahmedabad for a week for my induction and everything, and this was supposed to happen sometime in May, right? So I had planned my Thailand trip, obviously, for a week. I was like, wow, let's go enjoy, right? Unfortunately, it happened on the same week. So my Thailand trip and my IIM-A induction is supposed to happen on the same week. This was my biggest challenge that I ever faced, you know, where I'm like, I want to do both, but I'm not able to do it. Similarly, I think I faced the same way back in college when I didn't want to give up on the competitions, right? I wanted to be a part of it. So because of that, I lost one of the movie chances. And they said, if you can't, you know, give me your dates, then I will have to go ahead with somebody else. And I had to take that hard decision where I said, go ahead with somebody else. I want to stay here and enjoy my college life. So again, like there have been a lot of tough spots that I've been put under, and it's pretty bad.
So I mean, why does it become pretty bad? Is it because of the regret part of it, or like what?
It's more like you want to do all of it, but you're not able to, right? At one point in time, everybody is like, oh my God, you're doing this, you're doing that, and it's quite overwhelming as well. Now, when you're not able to do it, that overwhelming part becomes, the overwhelming part becomes in a negative way.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Now, I want to ask you something super specific with each of your career parts.
Yeah.
So tell me about what is one lesson you've learned from each of it. Like, be it as a movie star, what is that one big lesson you've learned?
Never trust anybody. That's the hard truth. The industry looks quite glamorous, and it might come out to be, you know, like this posh, fancy life that you lead. I'm sorry, I have to break the bubble. It's just, it's pretty fake, and I cannot be a part of that fakeness, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to put myself in that industry to just, you know, keep acting. For that love of acting, I had to withdraw myself and be like, you know, just take 10 steps back. You don't have to be a part of that industry. So never trust anybody is one thing that I have learned, and the most hard way. So, yeah.
I'm sure, because what happens is people look at only the surface, right?
Yeah.
And they see the paps and they see all of that, and they're like, how cool would it be? But it's not cool. Like, if you've actually seen people go through that entire, like even Megan's documentary on Netflix, right?
Right.
I was just thinking, it's a curse to be born in the
I
royal
swear.
family. Who would want that?
I swear, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of truth, and especially when I talk to friends who are singers, who work in the direction, production part, I know they're just doing it because they love it, but they don't get attached to the people they meet because it's a very floating crowd and there's no depth inside those relationships, and which is fair. But you should be built for it. You should be built to adapt and all of those things, right? What about the corporate part? You've experienced that as well. What is your biggest understanding and realization from the corporate world?
Very important to schedule your life, like your day as such, because that is something I think that comes with maturity as well. But I felt like that's something that I learned in the corporate world about scheduling your life. When you don't schedule your day is when you should realize the fact that you're not doing well in your corporate life, right? You are stagnant, you are saturated, and you don't know how to go about it. So once you schedule your life schedule your day is when you know where you stand, and that is very, very, very important in a corporate world. If you don't know where you stand, you don't know where you're moving towards. So that is something that I learned.
Can you tell me how you actually did it? Because a lot of us are frantic and all over the place sometimes. How did you actually schedule it and get into order?
My scheduling had to, in terms of just my work life, right? I had to understand what the project requires, schedule my meetings in a way that, I can finish that up and then spend a little bit time. This is my break time. This is how I'm going to network and get more inputs. And I should know how to grow, right? See, the corporate world puts you in a position where there is constant competition, right? And to beat that constant competition, again, you need to stand out of that community. So how do you stand out of that community? When there is money, when there is growth and all of that happens, right? So how does that revenue and growth come into picture? When you know where you stand in your project, that's when you'll realize that for the project to grow, for the project to make money, you need to push it. But you need to push yourself with that project for it to be better. I think that is one scheduling bit that I did to understand where I stand in that project, and then how you nurtured that baby, and then now the baby is walking, and then now the baby can, all together be by itself and all of that.
It's like more of an automative process, and you kind of delegated stuff and you know what to prioritize when. It becomes easy.
I think one more thing is, don't do the same thing. When you keep doing the same thing, you become stagnant. You don't know where you're going. Then that is when you're like, oh, I need new environment. Now I'll put down my papers, move to another company. But again, new environment, okay, fine. But same thing again. That doesn't make sense.
True. So, and it's like you're restarting the game all over again.
All over again. Yeah.
Makes sense. What about your content creation journey?
What did I learn from it? It's a game of algorithms. You understand that only after a certain point of time, right? And see, content creation can also not be your full-time profession. That is for sure. And I think...
Why do you say that?
Gen Z should really understand this, right? You're passionate about something, let's say food blogging, and there are a lot of people who have, come out and spoken, I had this corporate job and I quit it because I want to follow my passion and all of that, right? You follow your passion, that's completely fine. But then you should also understand that at one point of time, you cannot involve yourself in that passion so much, right? And that's the same analogy that I use for my content creation as well. Once you get too involved in I want to keep making videos, I want to be consistent, I want to put out, and that pressure builds in again, competition over there. That's when I think you should just take 10 steps back and be like, take a break.
Correct.
That's what I do.
But I also feel not everybody is blessed with that immediate separation of that 10 steps of break, right?
Definitely, yeah.
A lot of people, some people get it through meditation because that's where they find the ultimate truth. Some people find another passion project that they're doing and now they realize, hey, I'm doing this project with so much love. Why am I not doing my previous one? And then they kind of compare and get it. What do you think would be an easy way for anybody watching to kind of step back? And is there a mechanism to do it, or should you find somebody who could help you? What do you think would be the way?
I think it depends from people to people, right?
What works for you?
Yeah, what works best for you might not work for me.
Fair.
Like I mentioned earlier, that I set that boundary for each profession, right? So content creation also has that set boundary. Once I realize that I am inside that entire whole black hole
Okay.
where there's competition, there's engagement not doing well, an algorithm not working out, and then algorithm changing and all of that. It shouldn't get to your head. I learned it at a very young age because obviously when the movie released, my Instagram blew up, right?
Okay.
And there are always good and bad comments. So whatever I put out, there were people who said, "Hey, this is nothing," and you know how these bad comments are, right? Really negative comments. It affected me, right? It made me think, and me being an overthinker, I'm like, whoa, does he really mean it? Oh no, should I change myself? And all of that. So when you start getting those questions, right? Am I doing enough? Am I doing it in the right way? Why am I not getting the returns? Is when you realize that you need to take 10 steps back and get back to it when you're ready for it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I genuinely believe that that's important, irrespective of who you are and what profession you do. In fact, I was discussing this with my colleague Akshata, and I was telling her, life's about perspective, and you'll get it when you have this zoom in and zoom out principle.
Yeah,
It's like a camera.
Definitely.
If you're too zoomed in, you need it when you're driving something passionately. But if
Yeah.
you want a larger perspective and you want peace of mind and you want to
Yes.
re-strategize, realign,
Yeah.
then I think you got to zoom out, completely zoom out.
It's very important.
Very important. And that's why we like vacations which involve nature.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, it's rejuvenating.
It's rejuvenating, right? And now you
Yeah.
all of a sudden see a ocean and you're just sitting there, nobody is there, and you realize you're so small.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your ego gets crushed and you're like, you come back to your senses and you're like, shit. So that immediately I feel is a zoom in, zoom out principle. Traveling does that to you. Meditation does that to you. Sometimes
Taking a walk.
Taking a
does that.
walk, oh yeah.
And then talking to people.
Talking
That
to
also.
people, yeah.
Yeah, talking to people.
I think even listening to people.
Yeah, definitely listening to people. But moreover, I think for a person like me, I would probably be in that zone of I want to vent.
Yeah, true. It's all that accumulated energy and thought that has to be flushed out.
Yeah.
And you gotta find that way. Now, dude, the big question.
Right.
In my standards or in anybody else's standards, like a normal person's standard, if somebody stumbled upon your Instagram and said you have a great corporate job, you're an actor, that means you have another side project all the time waiting for you, and you're making good money in all angles, why IIM-A, dude? Why?
I'll tell you. You want the truth or you want the lie?
I want both, and I'll tell you what I told my team also. I was thinking, dude, if I were Siddhi, of course I can't be, but if I were Siddhi, right, I wouldn't do this. Dude. Like I was actually really contemplating and trying to find it out from every nook and corner. So you tell me.
Okay, I'll tell you the answers and you decide which one's the truth and which one's the lie.
It's like two lies, two truths and one lie.
Yeah. Okay, so two truths.
No,
I'll give you
one truth.
Yeah.
Okay,
one
cool,
truth
cool.
and one lie, right? My mom wanted me to do masters, so hence IIM-A, or I wanted to build my career, and I realized that I didn't have a proper base, so that's why.
The second one is the truth.
Yes, correct. But my mom was also pressurizing me for almost 2 years. Oh my God, she ate my head. Masters Madu, Masters Madu, Masters Madu. That's the only thing that was running in my head.
Yeah.
So I put a hard deadline. I mean, I think I put a hard deadline when I realized that if I want to move out of this company and look for another job, people are not going to trust my work ethics or my work culture or whatever I've worked on because I only have 3.5 years of experience.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
in between question?
Yeah.
That's if you get into a corporate MNC.
Yeah, definitely.
But with your experience, now I run a small little business.
Yeah.
I'm sure anybody with a 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 200 people would hire you eyes closed.
No.
Yes. Dude,
I'm sorry to break the bubble. It's not the reality.
Really? Like, I'll tell you why I would. Like, for me, if you have 500,000 followers on Instagram, then you know the Instagram code and the social media code. Maybe you don't have to create content. You can train my social media team to come do the same.
That's the problem. I am in the data analytics field and I am a data scientist where I love what I do. Right?
Okay.
It's a day of solving problems with data that is involved. And data is not like one tiny thing. It's huge.
It's huge,
right?
massive.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And you're creating that impact. You are creating that solution for that particular company to to actually get better, right? And that is something I didn't realize that I was doing it for the longest time. And when the clients actually came and they said, because of your suggestion, something like this has happened and we've made good money, so thank you so much, is when you realize, oh my God, it's very important. So if at all I want to do a job switch, I would want to do it in the data science field itself.
Because of the impact you're creating?
Yes, because of the impact that I'm creating.
But contrary to that, don't you think you can create impact irrespective of what you do or the kind of job or role?
Oh, definitely. But again, when you need that strong baseline, and I don't have that. So coming from a commerce background, I moved to the data analytics industry, where I had to learn all types of technology in just 3 months. R, Python, SQL, Power BI, name it. We had to learn that in 3 months. So that is when I realized that if I can do this in 3 months, I should have a strong baseline where I can show that I've done this for whatever 16 months or 1 year course or whatever that I'm doing right now. So I'm not doing an MBA in IIM-A. It's an advanced business analytics course.
Oh, did you write CAT?
No, I had to write a different aptitude test altogether for this.
Like, was it hard and all to prepare?
Very hard, okay? It's very hard. I thought when I wrote the aptitude test and I'm like, Amma, this is not happening. They're asking me questions like, there is one circle, there is another circle around it. What is the radius between the 2 circles? I'm like, how am I supposed to find it? I don't even remember the formula.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Okay. So again, the way that colleges, not universities, we don't have universities in India. The way that colleges function over here, it's not in the right way.
Correct.
But what can you do? You have to you have to do something. And it's not like I didn't try outside the country for the kind of course that I wanted to do. It was in advanced business analytics. And I realized that it was a lot of money that was being involved. It was also a fact that was I ready to head out and just forget about work and take that 2-year break and become that student again and network. And I had lots of plans. I want to become a bartender. Because I was like, if I'm going out, stripping cannot happen. My mom will kill me. She'll be like, what have you got and gotten there? Uber driver and Ola, so I can do it over here also. Bartending is something that I can learn and I can come back. So I had different plans altogether. If masters over there doesn't work out, bartending karke wapas aa jayenge, it's okay. That's what I thought.
Dude, very strangely, that was one of the options that I was thinking when I was in Ireland.
See, everybody thinks only about this.
I was thinking free drinks.
Yeah.
I'm like, free drinks when nobody's watching. I'll just drink one and I'll just go on my work and all of that.
That drink one and mixology won't work for me, but okay. I just pictured myself doing that. So yeah.
So that time on Facebook, there was this ad that was running of the European bartending school. And they had programs only on Saturday and Sunday. And for me, it was the most convenient because college there, Saturday, Sunday is the break.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, so cool.
Why not?
And they said, we'll place you. I'm like, if I do this master's, don't get a placement, at least this bartending course will give me something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, see, the only two, you can do waitressing also, but I genuinely don't find myself doing that.
Sir, plate haki.
Moreover, chal le. Oh my God, sorry!
No, it's okay, it's fine.
But but waitressing there is different, right? It's a hard stop. You don't do get it like how you do that.
Imagine somebody doing that. You're Indian and an Indian person actually did that.
Does that my chappal on him or her, whoever does that, right?
Man.
So waitressing could not happen. Bartending is something I really wanted to try. I so badly want to give it a shot, but I think my mom is going to disown me after she listens to this.
I'm sure. Like Indian parents are so, what do you say, what society is going to say.
Hey,
and they have all
my
of
mom is different level. She's going to be like, what are you going to say about yourself?
Oh, self-worth.
So, yeah.
Self-worth, nice.
She'll like rotate it and put it to you, right?
Nice.
What society
I
thinks
met your mom also. I know she's damn cool. Like, she's damn cool.
She stands out.
Yeah, she clearly does.
Not only my mom, my dad also. I think you haven't met my dad.
I haven't.
My dad is katapa. Too hot katapa. And he's 58 and he has 4 packs, correct? 4 packs. Yeah, he has 4 packs.
Interesting. Like I remember when I met your mom as well. She cracked a joke. It took me a moment to get the joke. And then I started laughing and she's like, "Oh, you're the one who teaches my son." And I'm like, "Oh, well, yeah." Yeah, but I think then I was saying, your family is quite talented. Just don't tell your son. I want him to win more awards and stuff. Just don't tell your son and all of that. Yeah. But yeah, man. Now, coming back to the IIMA thing, right? A lot of viewers who are actually viewing or even listeners listening, a lot of them have this aspiration to get into IIM.
Oh my God!
It's very big, right? In India, it's a kind of a romantic feel and a breakup feel because if you don't get to go abroad,
you at least have to be a part of an IIM or an IIT.
IIM, or it's an equivalent, or it's even beyond. But if you ask me, I feel IIMs are in fact better than most colleges even abroad.
Definitely.
Maybe not your top 10. Maybe not your Stanford and Harvard, but I think, anything else it'll beat.
Okay.
I mean, that's my perception from the outside. I have no experience.
No, I completely agree on that as well because, see, I know for a fact how the university industry works because my mom is in that, right?
Okay.
My mom helps students. She to go abroad and study and all of that, starting from your SATs to your GRE to your GMAT, right? And getting, I mean, how do I put this? It is a game of luck. Let me be very honest. It is a game of luck. No matter how much effort and hard work that you put in your aptitude test or your CAT, whatever that you're planning to write, it's a game of luck. You just need to have the most amount of luck. Now, how do you test your luck? Right? I'll also tell you that.
I was just gonna get there and.
There are two ways. Go to an astrologer. He will tell you this one is the highest, so that means you are very, very, very lucky. That is one thing. Second thing is your hard work should be in the most smart way, right?
Like, give me an example.
There's negative marking, right? You should understand how to break that negative marking algorithm. So,
for example,
I don't know how many questions are there in CAT. I've kind of forgotten about it, but answer only those questions that you are sure of, right? It works on a percentile system, not a percentage. Once you realize the difference between a percentile and a percentage is when you'll think smartly and be like, I will answer only those questions that I am sure of that it is going to be right no matter what. Obviously, there are formulas and everything that you need to know, right? So that's the same thing that even I did for my aptitude test. I mean, it was the number of questions were lesser than the actual CAT, but the level of the intermediate to hard level was how it was. And honestly, I was quite overwhelmed when I wrote that aptitude test. My mom is sitting right in front of me. It was online. Yeah, it was online. And then I'm telling Amma, agala bidu and all of that. So I mean, math is something that could have been changed, right? You don't need to know the perimeter or the area of a circle, which is a part of a pentagon or whatever it is. Like, I think moreover, they should change you're testing their aptitude skills, right? Test them in terms of data interpretation. Test them in terms of whatever your family drama questions that you have. No, your uncles, brothers, wife, whatever. Test them in terms of that because that is when you understand how they're thinking. And like that makes more sense than by-hearting all the formulas and writing it down and then forget it. It's too much effort.
Yeah. So just a few more insights, in terms of, I know you would have done a lot of research, you've done a lot of preparation for this entire process. Yeah. So I just think, we can take a few tidbits and share it with the audience at large. So first thing is, I want to know, why did you not write CAT for this course? Then are there more courses like this? And what kind of courses are these?
Okay, so I was sure that I wanted to do something with advanced business analytics or something to do with an MSc in business analytics. Sorry, business analytics. Wow. Okay, done. So I was really sure about that. So once I did my research, I got to know that there are only 2 colleges here in India which have that, right? One is your IIT Kharagpur, IIM Calcutta, and ISI in collaboration. It is a 2-year program that you can be a part of, and for that you need to write a CAT. Now I was too late for that because I was thinking I'm going outside the country and I'm going to do my masters there, right? But then when reality hits you in terms of money and everything, that's when you take a step back. Now I was also looking at your upgrad and what other courses that you can do online or whatever it is, and that's when randomly one day on Instagram it popped up that IIM-A has this course called Advanced Business Analytics. And I was like, Mom, did you know about it? She's like, no, go check that out. So immediately I went and I checked it out. Obviously it's an IIM-A, not even BC, it is A, right? So I went ahead and I checked out the course, and it had exactly the same thing that I wanted to study, right? Your modeling, your Bayesian theory, your time series analysis and all of that, and everything was structured in a way that it could be completed in 16 months, which was even better. I was like, okay, this is amazing. And the best part was you don't have to quit your job and concentrate on that. You have to work parallelly and then do this as well.
Oh, so this is...
Yes, it's a hybrid model. So what happened was this was released during COVID, and obviously that time they had to do it online because they didn't know how to go about it. So this is the 4th batch and it's pretty new in India, but it's giving a different level altogether with your career growth that I have seen in the past batches that have graduated, right? So I mean, when I got to know about this, I was just like, it's a very hard shot, but can you make it, Siddhi? Can you do it? And put in all of that effort and then let's see what happens. So
yeah, just to intervene there, what is the kind of effort did you, like what was your preparation? Was there a syllabus, and how did you have to like get your profile ready for the kind of seat you were getting?
Yeah, so my profile was already ready in terms of my resume, right? It was about me putting in that effort of cracking that aptitude test. Now I had my mother who's in the industry. She taught me like a couple of tips and tricks, you know, answer only those questions that you're very sure of. If you don't know, don't waste a lot of time, move ahead and all of that. Second thing that she taught me was stay calm. It's very, very important for you to stay calm and reach that nirvana, right? when you're writing that aptitude test. So, I mean, couple of things that I did was, I'm not a person who goes on YouTube and then searches, teach me this, teach me that, right? I would like it when I'm networking with somebody and somebody says, in this book, there is something like this. I will go ahead and I will do that. And that's why I had my colleagues and my friends help me out through that process of solving the math equations. Dude, it's a pain. Okay, that was my biggest challenge, to crack the math. English and whatever your DI and everything was very simple for me because that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. It was only for my math that I had to put in a lot of effort. So now I had 1 month before the test, and I sat, I wrote, I prepped all of that, and obviously it gets very overwhelming. Once it gets overwhelming, just stop it. Just stop it. And then go with your luck and your instincts, whatever it says. So that's the kind of prep that I did, but I'm pretty sure there are other people who think it's a CA, like a chartered accountant, whatever test that you have that you need to put in 6 hours, 7 hours. I didn't do all of that.
How many hours did you put in?
Just half an hour every day. That's it.
For how long?
For a month. Yeah, so half an hour every day.
But you're the topper kind, no? You're the very smart person and all that.
So see, toppers are bookworms. Okay, let me make that clear. I am not a bookworm. I am that smartest person who knows that deviation. You know, okay, let me explain to you in terms of math, right? You have your mean, you get your standard deviation. That standard deviation adds a lot of value because that is where you understand where the kink is, right? So I understood what that kink is and I went ahead. I was like, okay, let's do this.
I'm terrible at math.
Okay, kink is where there is a graph going in a linear way and then there's one drop. And then you go back up, right? That is called the kink.
Okay,
right? Yeah.
Whatever. I remember copying the graph also in my school. I'm like, oh wow, I know the shape of the graph that it should be. Yeah, man, but
I'm not the topper kind, let me make that clear.
Yeah, it also makes sense, right? And if you were the topper kind, then getting into an IIM would have been hard.
Yeah.
It would have been really hard.
Very hard.
Now, also tell me, what is the general selection process? Now, I know you're Siddhi, you have a few credentials, but for a person who does not have credentials,
Right.
what is it that they require on their resume? What do they look for?
Make the resume as exhaustive as possible. And how do you do that? But as exhaustive as possible.
Big lists.
No, as exhaustive as possible in terms of this. It's not big lists. It's adding the right set of values, not values, right set of ingredients into that resume, right? And that your work, whatever thing experience that you get, that by default comes in. But they also want to know what kind of a person that you are. Now, if you're like boring, saturated, stagnant, मैं पीऊँगा, weekend पे party करूँगा, and then not working towards yourself, making the best version out of yourself, then they wouldn't want to. Why would they want a person who is just into academics?
So for you, that would have been acting, content creation.
Yeah, and it also meant like with the different skill set that you come in, right?
Okay.
And your communication, your soft skills, your hard skills, all of that matters. You do your work experience, that is one place.
One
that
place,
by
correct.
default, they're going to check it out. But they also want to know what kind of a person that you are.
Correct.
Okay. And do you mean something, or do you stand out in that community?
Makes
right?
sense. Makes sense.
So,
I was going through. I was going through a reel, and then I also was doing a class at Transcend itself, and I was telling some of these kids, like, when you get into Harvard, or Stanford, and if it's your dream, marks is one of the 7 things that you have to really focus on.
Definitely.
And in that content reel that I was watching, there was one mention of what resonated with what you said. They want to really test your why in terms of your purpose, and they also want to test whether you've actually applied it in the past.
Correct.
Not just that you want to put your why and purpose up ahead in the future.
Just for Harvard or Stanford, but you've done that in the past. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and one of the things is this social responsibility, right? Have you contributed to a bigger cause and all of that?
Yeah, here people pay money and get that certificate, but I mean, it's just the Indian nature. But yeah, that's what I said, right? Your soft skills and your hard skills matter a lot, a lot.
You are getting into the IIM with a specific plan, right? You're doing data analytics and all of that. So does that also mean you have your next 5 years post IIM chalked out in terms of it's got to be in data analytics only, or are you open to change?
Okay, I think this brings me to say what my dream job is, right?
Okay.
I'm a huge F1 fan, like super huge F1 fan. And yeah, I'm a huge F1 fan. I'm not going to talk about who I support right now because I'm in a fix. I don't know who to support, but I'm an all-time Vettel fan.
Okay.
I will never ever go back to that. But so in Formula 1, the car, most of them don't know, the car has 300 data points. Okay. For each lap that they do, that 300 data points collects that data, and you have like almost 100 GB to 1 TB kind of data.
Okay.
On the basis of that data is where you change your strategy, and that is where the winning mark happens, right?
Sweet.
It's not only about the driver and his skill set, it's also about the car.
Correct.
And that is something that people don't understand,
Correct.
right? So my dream job, like a dream job, would be to be a part, of Red Bull. I'm a huge Red Bull fan. So maybe like a data scientist over there will definitely help me. But then I need to know aerodynamics for that, and I don't know when I'm going to study that, right? So when I learn that in that process, at one point in time, I want to be there. So chart it down for the next 5 years, I don't know. But I know for a fact that I want to be a part of that racing club, the racing team, to just make that impact. So,
wow. That's so cool. That's actually so cool. And Siddhi, like, we can be friends after this. Get me a few tickets. Maybe have some lunch and dinner with Max.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, hey.
Oh, you don't know if Max is even going to be there in Red Bull, right? It's not
I'm praying for early success, Siddhi. Like, I'm like, hey, let's be optimistic.
Let's do this. Touch wood. Let's do this. But
yeah. Like, hey, Max, I know I have a very good friend of mine. His name is Lalith.
Yeah.
You don't have to know who he is, but
just
Just
Max
like
is just gonna be like, what the bullshit, man?
oh man,
Yeah.
That's great, you know. And I think you need to have those ambitious, audacious
Yeah.
dreams because it actually gets you going.
Yes.
Because if you don't have it, you really won't get going. Like I feel you'll start reasoning. You'll start be like, everything's okay. And somewhere I feel your drive on a day-to-day life, and especially when things get hard, you won't see it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Nice, very interesting. I'm so intrigued by the Formula One thing. I'm so
Yeah.
intrigued.
I know you should actually understand the different 300 data points, and each data point actually matters.
Yeah, and you know, I never liked Formula One until I watched Drive to Survive. I'm that guy, right?
You're that guy. Yes.
Yeah, I'm that guy. So, but when I did watch it, I wasn't fascinated, but I had so much genuine appreciation
Yes.
for the people who are sitting and they're not lifting the trophy,
Yeah.
but they are acting
so
as
happy
if
with the win,
yeah,
right?
and they're contributing and everything, right? Even just the tires getting the
Yeah.
tires, positioning it, being on the time, and I remember they showing that 1.8 second Red
Yeah.
Bull fix, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
I'm like 1, 2, and like
Yeah,
that's
done.
the amount of time it took,
Yeah.
right? So it's crazy. Now, speaking of which, I mean, most of my questions that what I've prepared for was also based on the IIM part, but there are a lot of other questions that are also coming. What has been your biggest life-changing moment? Like that one moment where you look back and say, dude, no matter what I do, I know I'll do something great out of it. Or I have that inner belief and confidence. Like, yeah, I can do it. Have you had that moment?
Actually, I have, and it was on my 18th birthday.
Okay.
When my dad came and he's like, now you're 18, teenage years and all done. You need to focus. So I'm no longer your father anymore. I'm like your friend. Okay. So one thing that he said was, if you do good, I will be with you. If you do bad, I will still be with you.
Okay.
Right? And that is the kind of support that you need. And because of those statements is when I realized, hey, no matter what I do, I have a support system and I know I will crack it. So that made a difference. That was like a life-changing moment for me, because I think that's the same conversation he had with my brother as well. There was no difference in it. But coming from a father, when you say something like that, that means the world to the child, right?
And I think it's also the right moment, space, and time, which is sacred enough for you to actually say it.
Yeah, it was on my 18th birthday it happened, and I was like, yeah, something will happen, don't worry.
This also resonates with, you know who Kobe is? Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Everybody knows who Kobe Bryant is.
Yeah, so there's an interview where Kobe also was asked by a journalist, like, what gives you that immense level of confidence? And he says that his dad was an NBA player and they were staying somewhere in Spain or Italy when he was 11 years old before he moved to America.
Okay.
And he used to play with older boys, right? And he used to play a lot of these and he used to get thrashed.
Yeah.
He used to come back home and weep, and he was a very intense kid. And his dad walked up to him and he said, irrespective of you score a 0 or a 40 in the game, I still love you.
Yeah.
And that's when he said, now I have a wall that protects me and I can lean on whenever I need, and that wall's never going to fall back on me.
Absolutely right.
And for me, now I'm thinking that greatness of an individual is actually not of the individual. It is of the environment that the individual is surrounded in.
Definitely.
And the individual somehow has to be blessed to be in the environment.
Yeah.
To that person who's also blessing the individual also has to be blessed.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, man, like this is some common traits. Now even for people who, like Kobe is a goat, but for even the smallest of us who are trying to do, who are accomplishing our dreams, I think the principle stands the same.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you have that support system, you can do anything and everything, right? And that support system, sometimes for people, it may not be your parents. It may be your grandparents, your relatives, or your friends, right? So I think that really matters.
Now also tell me, I want to know who would be the kind of person or the kind of uh, association you'd like in your career. Like for example, let's say you'd want to do acting, right? You'd want to work under a specific director or work with an actor to kind of fulfill those dreams. Or in a content creation journey, there's a genre that you want to actually touch or experiment. Or maybe even in IIM, like I know now you said Formula One, that you want to get, that's the kind of dream job.
Yeah.
So what would be your dream collaboration on the content side, or what would be your dream project on the movie side if you had to choose?
Got it. I think I want Lal Jo's already happened. So, okay. I think in the movie side, I really want to be a part of an Alphonse Putran movie. So, Alphonse Putran is the mastermind behind Premam, Neram, and Gold, all those super duper hit movies, right? Which was very different from the regular movies that came out. And I so badly want to, be a part of his movie. Hopefully it happens. And then I think an actor perspective or who I want to act with, I don't have a list. I think Irfan Khan and Nawazuddin Siddiqui tops the list, but then I know it's too much to think about it.
It's fair. It's fair.
So they're really good actors, and I would love to work with them and then understand how they work as well. That was the movie part. In content creation, I think one thing that I really want to, I don't know if it's going to work out, but two things that I want to try. One is become a motivational speaker.
Oh!
Like, actually it's not even motivational speaker, right? It's more like giving them that reality check, okay? And that is someone, I don't know, Varun Maya, remember meeting him?
Yeah.
He does that. He does that to the Gen Z crowd, and they still don't get it. That is the most stupidest part. But yeah, giving them that reality check in the right way is something that I want to do, but I know for a fact that I'm going to be thrashed for that. So the next one is, I think travel vlogging is something that I really want to get into because I travel a lot. But it also puts me in a position where I'm like, okay, I should be recording this, and I won't live in that moment, right?
Correct.
So when I'm ready for that travel vlog, I will do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's nice. I think traveling is such an integral part. Such an integral part. And I mean, out of all the conversations we've had and the questions I've asked, I've realized that there's so many things that revolve around that travel, and it kind of enriches our lives.